Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. This is Life Coach Myrna Young, and you're listening to 5-Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk on the topic, the power of now in relationships. And this information comes from Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of the Now. And in his book, Eckhart Tolle says that everything happens in the now, and there's only one point of access, and it is the now. And when we're talking about relationships, he says that all relationships are deeply flawed. They may seem perfect for a moment when you're in love, but that perfection is lost when disappointment and dissatisfaction sets in. So think about it though. Whenever you're mad at your spouse or you're mad at your wife or relationship, it's usually not something that's happening right now. You're bringing in things from the past. Your mind keeps spinning all the time. And listen, I'm telling you this because it made a big difference in my relationship with my husband. Whenever my mind starts spinning about all the things that happened in the past, I remind myself, Myrna, stay in the present moment. Myrna, stay in the present moment. And I will tell you that I have not had a fight with my husband since I've incorporated the power of the now in my relationship with him. So that's the reason I wanted to share this information with you. So perfection is lost when dissatisfaction and disappointment sets in. And it's usually not because the person is just threw their clothes on the floor or they're doing something to you right now. They're scrolling, things like that gets me mad. You know, you're at a restaurant or something and they're not paying you any attention. They're scrolling their phones. You get mad. But if you address it right then, instead of thinking, you know what, this man does this every time and now I'm mad because always, I learned that it's a bad word, always, because that means you're bringing in things from the past. All right. So if we look at the divorce rate, it seems that most love relationships become hate relationships. And this is the reason, because nobody is utilizing the power of the now. When we don't access the now, love turns into hate with the flick of a switch. Sometimes the relationship continues for a while between the polarities of love and hate. It gives you as much pleasure as it gives you pain. You know those kinds. You know, you get pleasure in the bedroom, but as soon as you get out of the bedroom, then you fight like cats and dogs, right? Some couples get addicted to the drama because it makes them feel alive. They talk about, hey, you know, makeup sex is great and all that kind of stuff. But when the negative events keep occurring with increasing frequency, the relationship collapses. And you may think that if you remove the negative cycles, then the relationship will flower beautifully, but that is not the case because the polarities are mutually interdependent and you can't have one without the other. And the reason we want to be in the now is that you can't access the pain body, which is one of the biggest things that Eckhart Tolle talks about. The pain body, all the stuff that you have stuffed down and all this stuff that has happened to us over the years, it's your pain body. But you can't access the pain body, right, of what he did to me and then bring it forward and relive the pain if you're in the now. Unless the event is happening right now, then it's a pain body. It's in the past. And the reason Eckhart Tolle teaches that polarities are mutual independent is because your pain feeds his pain. Your trigger triggers his triggers, right? You know, let's say you're sitting in a restaurant. I remember this happened to me. I'm sitting in a restaurant with my husband for Valentine's Day, and I said something to him, and he says, "I'm getting upset." And I'm thinking, can't we not have a dinner without getting upset? But then I'm the one that said something and it triggered his. If I was just concentrating on eating my meal, we wouldn't have to go there. So that is a good example of being in and out, right? The negative side of your relationship can also be more easily recognized as dysfunctional. It is easier to recognize the source of negativity in your partner than to see it in yourself. And I'll tell you, I always kept going on and on about how, it's everybody else's fault. When something happens, my husband would say to me, you think you're perfect. And I do think I'm perfect. But hey, I have a pain body. I'm being triggered too unconsciously. And that's basically what happens. You're able to see the negative side in someone else, but you really can't see it in yourself. Like the Bible says, take the plank out of your eye before you see the speck of dust in your brother's eye. Right. Your negativity and past pain can show up in your relationship as, this is a long list, ladies, so pay attention. Possessiveness, jealousy, control, withdrawal, resentment, the need to be right, insensitivity, self-absorption, emotional demands, manipulation, the urge to criticize, judge, blame, anger, unconscious revenge. Quite a list. But none of those things that I mentioned ever happens in the now. You have to bring them in. So you're saying, all right, so maybe I manipulate, maybe I want to be right, maybe I have this unconscious revenge when somebody does something to me, I need to get back at them. But the positive side is just as bad. And pay attention to this, because this is something that we don't recognize. We're not very conscious of this. But when you're in love, someone says to you, I need you, I want you, you are so special. And we love that. Who don't wants to be wanted and feel special? The feelings of being in love can be so intense that the rest of the world fades into significance. It is just the two of you. Who needs anybody else, right? You become addicted to the other person. He acts on you like a drug. Even the thought of that person no longer loving you elicits your jealousy, much less if he talks to somebody else. Right? Emotional blackmail is something that you do because you want to be the center of his world all the time. So you blame, you accuse because of the fear of that love. And if the other person does leave you, it can lead to the most intense pain and grief, or the most intense hostility. So let's look at the intense pain. I've heard it being described by this guy told me, heartbreak is like someone hit you on your head with a bat, and the pain is intense. The pain is intense. It is worse than any withdrawal from heroin. It is intense, right? So the fear of loss, it is the most intense pain. And then what happens to us women, I don't hear it so much in the men community, then you get hostile and you get angry and you seek revenge. A lot of times don't letting the guys see their kids or whatever you can do to be hostile because you've lost something that was once important to you. So Eckhart Tolle asked a question. Was this love in the first place? Or was it just addictive clinging? Because love has no opposites. We say, love becomes hate, but if it's real love, then it really has no opposites. So if you're getting hate, then it was never love in the first place. All right, so then you heard about the rebound relationships, right? Then a survivable relationship comes along. It seems to meet all your needs, and at least it appears so at first. You now have a new focal point. That person defines your identity. The person is in love with you. You're at the center of someone's world again. You are loved. Then there becomes a point where your partner fails to meet your needs. The feelings of fear and lack now resurface. They have been covered up by this love relationship. Like any drug, you are on a high until the drug never works for you. I've never taken drugs, but I know that's a thing, right? You take a hit of crack or heroin or something, and it sends you into bliss, it sends you into ecstasy. And the next time you take the drug, it doesn't do the same thing. So you got to keep taking more and more and more, right? To get that initial high. So sooner or later, the high of being in love no longer works for you. And then the feelings of fear return. And now you feel them stronger than they were before, right? And now you think that your partner is the cause of those feelings. So you start attacking. You attack your partner. And this awakens their own pain body, interdependence, right? And he may counter your attack. But every attack is a manipulation to get your partner to change their behavior. And oh my God, when I first got married, I'm not going to be married 17 years in a couple of weeks. But when I first got married, I did all this stuff. And I'm wondering, my husband is not moving. He is not changing because he's an alpha male. And he doesn't get manipulated by women so he continues to do what he wanted to do. And, I had to learn to accept him the way he is. So this is because you refuse to work through your pain, right? You refuse to work on yourself. You refuse to understand your pain body. You refuse to understand why you need this person to complete you, why you're not whole on your own. So when someone takes away their attention, right, and you have no power to be in the now, then you're looking at somebody to make you feel happy. And you know what? A lot of people are getting the message because a lot of people is going out there now saying, I don't need my partner to make me happy, because that's what we thought that we were supposed to do. We were supposed to go get married and that person is going to fulfill all their needs. Doesn't happen. You got to be whole, right? Before you can be actually happy, because yes, like the Bible says, it's not if someone disappoints you, but when, right? When you're whole in your own and you're able to stay in the now, understand what's going on this very moment. I'm breathing, I'm healthy, I'm in no danger, right? That you can stop having your mind go and go and go and all the things that happen to you, your pain body, and bring it into the present, right? Every addiction starts with pain and ends with pain. Whatever you're addicted to, whether it's alcohol, food, shopping, sex, you're using something or someone to cover up your pain. That's why there's so much pain and unhappiness in romantic relationships, right? Romantic relations do not cause pain and unhappiness. They just bring out the pain and unhappiness that's already in you. So avoidance of relationships. You might be listening to me and thinking, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get into a relationship because I don't want to have the pain. I don't want to be disappointed. It never lasts and all that stuff. So you don't go in relationships because you want to avoid the pain. Maybe someone hurt you once and you're saying, I'm not doing it again. But according to Eckhart Tolle, he says 3 failed marriages are a source of awakening more than if you shut yourself off in a room and refuse to engage in relationships. There's also the saying, it's better to have loved than lost than to never have loved at all. It's very true. The power of the now must be strong enough so you don't get taken over by the thinker or the pain body. Bring the power of the now to your relationships means that you stop judging yourself and you stop judging your partner. The greatest catalyst for change in a relationship is complete acceptance of your partner for who he or she is without needing to judge or change them in any way. You're in a love relationships if someone feels the same way about you. If not, then you're in a relationship by yourself. So don't let this love relationship between you and someone else turn to hate by constantly bringing up the past. Embrace the power of the now and watch your relationship explode. Watch all the fighting go downhill. Watch all the judging go away. Watch all the criticism go away. And you just concentrate on how you feel in this present moment. And practice some gratitude. Practice that someone loves you, that you were the center of someone's world, because it's a beautiful thing to be, right? So don't blow that. All right. Well, listen, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. So today we talked on the power of the now in relationships. I hope I left you with some nuggets. Like I said, I've learned from this information, which is why I definitely want to share it with you. If you're listening to this on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe. If you are listening to this on iTunes, I would love for you to also rate and review. And I will see you back right here next week for another episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Until then, namaste.